Welcome to our channel, a place where perfection is only a mask and every closed door hides a dangerous truth. Here, power is inherited, loyalty is tested, and love is never free of consequence. Beyond the wealth and elegance, emotions collide, secrets unravel, and a single revelation can destroy entire lives. If you are drawn to stories filled with betrayal, inner conflict, and dramatic twists that push characters to the edge, you're in the right place. Stay with us, because once the gates are opened, there is no turning back. Madison's world fractures not in a single violent moment, but through a slow, unbearable unraveling. The revelation does not arrive as clarity, it arrives as contamination, seeping into every memory she once trusted. Anita is no longer merely a powerful figure orbiting her life with quiet authority and carefully measured distance. Anita becomes the origin point of every unanswered question Madison has carried like a private wound. The shock hardens into rage before grief can even find its footing. Anger feels safer than sorrow, because anger gives her something to hold on to when everything else dissolves. Madison's fury is not loud or theatrical. It is precise, surgical, and relentless. It turns inward first, accusing her of weakness for never seeing the truth, for accepting partial stories, for trusting people who thrived on omission. Every kindness Anita ever extended now feels rehearsed, every moment of concern retroactively poisoned by intent. Madison's mind replays their shared past with ruthless scrutiny, hunting for signs of manipulation, for proof that she was never more than a pawn in someone else's carefully controlled narrative. The idea that her life may have been guided, if not outright engineered, by a woman who denied her the truth ignites a bitterness that borders on self-destruction. Anita, meanwhile, is trapped in a different kind of reckoning. Her composure, once unassailable, begins to fracture under the weight of consequences she convinced herself would never arrive. She did not lose Madison by accident. She made a decision, one she justified as necessary, even merciful. That justification has calcified over years into something she mistook for moral certainty. Now faced with the undeniable proof that silence did not erase the past but merely delayed its reckoning, Anita is forced to confront the possibility that everything she built rests on an original betrayal. The anger Madison directs at Anita mirrors the anger Anita has long buried toward herself. Yet pride and fear conspire to keep that self-loathing hidden. Anita's instinct is control. When threatened, she does not retreat. She tightens her grip. She begins to calculate outcomes, not reconciliation. The truth may be exposed, but its interpretation is still malleable. If she can shape the narrative, she can survive it. Survival has always been her guiding principle, even when disguised as sacrifice. As the connection between them becomes impossible to deny, the surrounding world responds with suspicion and opportunism. Secrets rarely belong to only two people, especially in a place where power circulates like currency. Someone knew. Someone always knew. The realization hits Madison with brutal clarity. Her suffering did not exist in isolation. Others benefited from her ignorance, leveraged it, protected the lie because it served their interests. This transforms her anger into something sharper, more dangerous. The pain is no longer personal. It is systemic. Madison's sense of identity begins to erode. The story she told herself about who she is, where she comes from, what she overcame, no longer holds. The absence she once defined herself against is suddenly filled, but not with comfort. It is filled with resentment, with the knowledge that her life might have been different had the truth not been stolen from her. She oscillates between craving connection and wanting annihilation. The desire to punish Anita wars with an equally terrifying desire to be seen, fully and without apology, by the woman who abandoned her. Anita watches Madison's unraveling with a mixture of fear and grim recognition. She sees in Madison the reflection of the woman she might have become had she not chosen ambition over vulnerability. That recognition terrifies her. It threatens the carefully constructed identity that allowed her to thrive in a world that rewarded strength and punished sentimentality. To admit regret now would be to admit that her success demanded a cost she can no longer deny. The tension between them escalates as each woman retreats further into her own defenses. Madison begins to test the boundaries of Anita's control, deliberately placing herself in situations that force exposure, forcing consequences Anita cannot manage behind closed doors. It is not revenge in the traditional sense. It is provocation.
Madison wants the truth to hurt, to disrupt, to burn through the layers of respectability that have protected Anita for decades. She wants the world to feel even a fraction of the chaos she has been forced to contain alone. Anita responds not with empathy, but with escalation. She leverages influence, relationships, and carefully curated loyalty to contain the damage. Each strategic move she makes widens the emotional chasm between them. In choosing preservation over accountability, Anita unknowingly confirms Madison's worst fear, that she was never chosen, not then, not now. The betrayal becomes ongoing, renewed with every decision that prioritizes reputation over repair. The weight of inherited trauma begins to surface. Madison realizes that her anger is not entirely her own. It is an inheritance, passed down through absence and denial. Anita's life, built on suppression, has shaped Madison's capacity for trust without ever being present. This understanding does not soften Madison, it radicalizes her. If pain can be inherited, then so can reckoning. She resolves not to become another silent vessel for unresolved sins. Anita, cornered by circumstances she once controlled, starts to experience the first genuine fear of her adult life. Not fear of exposure, but fear of irrelevance. Madison does not need her approval, her protection, or her narrative. That autonomy threatens Anita more than any public scandal. It strips her of purpose. For the first time, Anita must confront the possibility that her power has limits, and that those limits are defined by a daughter who refuses to be managed. Both women are driven toward decisions that feel inevitable and cataclysmic. Madison's actions grow increasingly reckless, fueled by the belief that nothing is worth preserving if it was built on lies. Anita's responses grow colder, more calculated, as she convinces herself that sacrifice is still justified if it ensures survival. Each believes she is acting out of necessity. Each believes the other is choosing cruelty. The tragedy lies not in their conflict, but in their similarity. They are mirrors locked in opposition, each reflecting the worst fear of the other. Madison fears becoming hardened, isolated, and emotionally barren. Anita fears being exposed as exactly that. Their inability to bridge this divide transforms what could have been reconciliation into a slow-burning implosion. As the pressure mounts, both women are pushed to the edge of moral collapse. Madison risks losing herself in the pursuit of truth, while Anita risks losing everything by refusing to confront it honestly. Neither path offers redemption, only consequence. The gates that once symbolized protection and privilege now feel like barriers of their own making, trapping them in a legacy of silence, anger, and unfinished reckoning. What emerges is not resolution, but momentum, a cycle set into motion long before either woman understood its cost. In the absence of forgiveness, resentment becomes the dominant force, reshaping identities and redefining loyalties. The question is no longer whether the truth will destroy them, but how much of themselves will remain once it has finished unfolding. And as the dust begins to settle, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Nothing behind these gates will ever return to what it once was. Every choice made in silence now echoes louder than any confession. Every hidden wound bleeds into the open. Alliances are no longer safe. Trust has become a liability, and the line between victim and villain grows dangerously thin. What was revealed cannot be undone. It can only spread, infecting every relationship it touches. Just when the characters believe they have survived the worst, a new fracture forms, hinting that the real collapse has only just begun. Loyalties will be tested beyond repair. Past sins will demand a heavier price, and someone will be forced to make a decision that changes everything forever. This is not the end of the story. It is the moment where consequences take control. Stay with us, because beyond the gates, the next chapter promises even deeper betrayal, darker choices, and a reckoning no one is prepared to face.